welcome to the September 23rd, 2019 Architectural and Historic Review Board meeting. We have a first item on the agenda, a sign at 14 Hamilton Street. Hi.
We are getting together on it, but I think it would be good if Megan could approach that and talk about any parts that we've got up there. I've been told I shouldn't ever approach the diet, so I'll stay back here. So
you're welcome to. Just anyone, just take the mic, and if you would just introduce yourself, and we're happy to come up and talk.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Hi. So I think what we're doing right now for today is we're looking at the sign at the front of the building. Then, I mean, I guess this is a question. This same sign at the front, is this an illuminated sign?
Exactly. So those signs are all light up over there.
Yeah.
So what I've done is we did yellow lights, just a little bit nicer. So that's just what it would look like at night.
So this is a aluminum letters with white internal LED halo lighting to flood out from behind. So the aluminum cutout, the black tile and stone lettering,
Yep.
is a solid aluminum, and then you have a little strip light behind each letter, and so you get a little glow on the back.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not an illuminated letter. All right. That's okay as far as I understand.
It's just the
Mr. Rome, is that-
profile,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
The profile.
That's a compliant sign.
Yeah, as long as it's not uplit, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. And I'm gonna just make a qualitative assessment, and the size looks compliant, I'm sure. Again, Mr. Romer looked at it. So I think we're okay on the front sign. I think that there is a size compliance question for the sign at the rear, facing the highway. So we're going to,
We're gonna hold off on it today.
okay.
Well, if you guys have an opinion about the sign that you want something changed or something like that, it's fair to do that. I think we're gonna need to go to the zoning board, but it's a little bit of an odd situation because we're actually not going to the zoning board because.
Do the mic, just so we can,
Yeah, we're not going to the zoning board because the sign that we're proposing is itself oversized, but it's the aggregate of the signs of the various businesses put together has been determined to exceed the length below. I think we need to do a little bit more research on it because we're really CP, not downtown. So I'm not sure what applies to it. We got the projects approved. The size of the signage was allowed to be larger than what it would be in the downtown. We just need to get clarification. The easiest way is to go to the ZBA, and that's what we should do.
so just out of curiosity, because I think it's you're here, so,
Yep.
and it's a question generally that only gets dealt with here. But so I'm curious, does your store go through?
So yeah, so there's Lombardo's,
Mhm.
then would be us, Sinelli, and then I am Ahrb. So
Okay.
that entire, section is just 3 storefronts. So there's 2 signs.
Yeah, and
So it
so,
may make sense
so the
to do that.
storefronts, all 3 storefronts go from this brick pilaster to the other brick pilaster, is that?
Or across that, and across that. 'Cause those are the
Just 3 sides, no, I understand that.
So at that point, it wouldn't be over the length.
Well, but you have the center property. The way I understand the sign proportion to facade length is per facade, not per, you don't pick facade and that's all you get if you have 4 facades, and you wanted to do 4 signs. I mean, I think that would be excessive, but I understand in this case why you have one at the front and one at the back. It makes sense. You have people coming in off the highway for the side at the back. So here I understand it, and so what is do you know off the top of your head what the aggregate of these three are? I mean, it's not so far. If I look at this again, just qualitatively, if I were to line those signs up, are they approximately a third? Or like what is the 251 inch turn out to be? I mean, but I think that's really the question. I think if you can show us something sensible and logical about the use of this, then we can look at it. I mean, with keeping in mind that the idea behind this is to reduce clutter, both for the community's sake, because we don't want to see this sort of ghetto of signs, but also for, I think, your own sake, in that you lose the value of a sign when it's overwhelmed with,
Yeah.
sort
No,
of
and that's
overburdened with too many other signs. So.
For sure, I'm just always looking like, in terms of sign, like keeping it clean, plastic, and, one of the
Yeah.
reasons why we're choosing true halo lights as opposed to like each letter being bright,
Yeah.
If I got to choose, I wouldn't even have lighthouse because I love them, but in this case, I mean, there's two already, so the third sign that we're putting there is the same size sign that I am in Lombardo used, which was what Regency, the owners of the building are requiring, right? So, had we done it all at the same time, the three of us, I am Lombardo and myself, but, maybe we would choose to do the layout a little bit different, but, I am Burger and Lombardo's are pretty classic. They're not overly cluttered, besides I am has the big logo on it, but, I mean, my goal is the same, like you said, I want it to look as
Yeah.
best as possible, so, we can get you that, what those dimensions really look like, the size of the entire building, and then what each sign actually, is, but, I have the same goal in mind, and I want it to look.
Yeah, I mean, I almost think that what I think is not quite right about this is that these two sort of almost align,
Sure.
and that you really maybe want to pick up the center line of the awning. But I guess in looking at this, I wonder if like this logo, I know it's on the front, but just that the form is slightly different. It's almost sort of a bit of a extended, sort of exaggerated triangle, and that might help kind of make it feel less like a.
Did we do the logo on the other side?
Yeah. So this is the one.
There as well?
Pardon? So this is the front.
Yes.
So you have the logo and then tile and stone. I see that you can't read Sedeli quite so well in this logo, and as opposed to just the lettering.
Just did Sedeli tile.
Yeah.
The logo. I figured, first off, the cost of giving the logo is, not.
Okay,
It's
well,
a lot,
okay, yeah.
But besides that point, doing it on the, towards the sawmill, I also saw a middle point. Because really the goal is somebody, especially on the sawmill, see tile and stone. Ideally, we plaster our logo for purposes of people remembering us, but, when you're driving past.
Yeah, no, I get it. I was just looking at a way to kind of a little more harmonious array of signage.
If we can, with the approval of Regency, if we can maybe do the layout, a more attractive layout, with the existing signs. I mean, I'm just completely open to doing that.
Okay. Well, I think we're amenable to finding a solution, and we're happy to,
Great.
if you want to send.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, for us,
stuff
just
to
as
us.
a point though, that's the most important sign for us, is catching that sawmill traffic. One of the biggest factors getting this space was, I'll only get this space if I can put a sign. That was before I am and the Lombardo had even put their sign up. And Regency said, yeah, so we're in progress, we're gonna get it. And as soon as I saw those signs up, I was like, perfect, now I'm gonna get a sign on the sawmill. And then when I got, a response that it wasn't gonna work out, I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is more important, this sign, than the front. So, anything that I can do, for us to make it work, that's what the goal is.
So what is the next step for the applicant?
The zoning board, they could get a variance for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's helpful that you guys have looked at it, because, you didn't say this is awful, we hate it, or something, so most we would do is when we go to the ZBA, say, well, the Ahrb has seen this, they have not made any decision
Yeah, no, I think I'd like to try to help you work out the signage so that it, so that it makes sense for your business.
I'm in favor of the concept
Yeah.
in general, but I agree with Michael, maybe you can optimize the look of the sign.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe you put it on two, Sedelli tiles down below, something so you can just sort of pull away that alignment.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, that we could, work with the space better. So, yeah,
Okay.
let's go from there and see what we can come up with. At least now I can start looking at, because these take time to make, so I was really pushing to get this done so we can start the sign, since we're going to be out of space next month. And then we can still work on the side of the building.
Okay, so I think for tonight, we can give you the approval for the front sign, unless there are any questions or
No, I'm
comments.
fine with that.
Christina, Mike, did you have any objections to?
So I'd like to make a motion, we approve the Sedelli Tile and Stone sign and logo for the front of the building. The section of this application for the rear of the building we'll address at a subsequent meeting following ZBA approval. A second? All seconds? Do we unanimous? Okay, thanks. 42 Bellair Drive.
Okay.
I can see this is a pitch, but I don't know what this is. Looking at.
Should I start?
Yes, please. Could you take the microphone and introduce yourself?
Hello? Okay.
Thanks.
My name is Ahrb. I'm an architect, and I am here to present the application for 42 Bellair, which is a single-family residence on the corner of Bellair and Buena Vista. The application consists of two parts. One is a one-story addition, and the other is a parking area. And we have taken the application into the planning board 2 weeks ago, into the last session, and we're going into the public hearing 2 weeks from now. But in the meanwhile, they suggested we're okay coming into the AGRB.
For the component of the addition or the garage? What was was there a question about one part of the application?
They didn't really,
No.
make that specific. However, the addition obviously is an architectural element, and then the parking area has a fence. So, we can look at it and we can see what is it that I'm going to start with the addition. The house is a two-story colonial structure, and if you look at the north elevation, you'll see that there's a number of, I'm going to do my best work with this computer, which is I'm kind of familiar with, but maybe what I'll do is, here's an existing elevation, which is a drawing A005 EX existing. And, in order to comply with the requirements, I am showing a line drawing of the existing elevation, and I'm showing a photograph. So as you can see, it's a two-story structure. Now, if I go back to drawing A004, which is the first floor plan, you will see that on the side of the house, there is a small structure about, right there, about 7 times 10 feet. And it consists of a living room and the laundry room. The house has a living room, a dining room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. There is no powder room or a bathroom on the first floor, so we're adding the powder room and the laundry room. And if you look at the drawing, A005, you can see that there's a new part right there, which is the first storage. The second floor is unchanged, the attic dormer is unchanged, and then anything that you see to the left and right of the is labeled as the part which is being added. This is the new part that we're looking at. I'm
So
also-
may I ask a question? So I'm on A005, elevations north and south. So the north elevation is where we're looking at the small addition to the building. So there's a little section that's quite confusing. If I'm looking at the north elevation, it's some structure, kind of roof structure, lower roof structure, just to the, actually, if you go A005.
It's existing, right?
Yeah. So do you see the structure? Yeah, this is kind of quite odd, and then below there's another, you're showing it from the other side, from the south side.
Okay.
Is this an existing piece? Is this a kind of drawing error, or is that, is this?
An interesting structure,
Okay.
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the photograph, and, if you look at this photograph.
Weird little floating roof.
Yeah.
You'll see that, there's a little structure with a roof, and that is actually a bathroom. And the bathroom has a, roof structure, which corresponds to what you see on the elevation.
Okay, great. It was,
Yes.
it's confusing, it's unusual, which is why it's confusing in the drawing.
Yes.
All right, so the piece we're looking at, and the side elevations of this, east and west, do we have here?
Yes, so there's a page A006, which again, is shown 2 times.
Yeah.
One is proposed, for example, here's the A006, where you see this, small addition, which really has a shed roof. And, you'll see from the front of the house, you see the side, which is right here. And from the back of the house, you see this portion here. And if you, just scroll down to, the next page, you'll see that that's the existing addition where you don't see that.
Yeah.
portion.
So would you walk us through a little bit, if I look at 1A006, which is the west elevation,
Okay,
it's unclear to me what is happening just above the ground, and then there seems to be a panel, it's a bit unclear about what the intention is here, where the various planes are, and.
What-
So what's happening is.
Yeah, I don't know what, you see this is two thick black lines, I guess this is a section at the front, I guess this is a section at the side, I don't know what this
Yes,
is.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So this is a first floor, where you see the dotted line. This is the first floor of the house. There is steps that go up from the street, and then the steps that go up to the front porch.
Yeah, and I got that,
So the
yeah.
first floor is raised above the grade, and therefore, the new addition is also raised above the grade. So what we have is windows and paneling which correspond to the height of the first floor, the height of the level of the first floor. And then below that, we have a crawl space, which is the equivalent of the crawl space which happens underneath the porch. The addition is proposed to be built on a raised foundation. And in fact, there's a plan that shows that it's planned to be on a sonotube type of foundation.
Yeah, no, I understand that part, but for example, let's just look at that one little area, the addition. So I think firstly, sort of maybe most noticeable is that the munted style is different from the rest of the house. And then there are two design elements below the window that are not clear to me what those are. And there's no section through the wall, and there's no real clarity through the line weights about what we're looking at. So there are these several rectangular shapes drawn just above the ground plane, and then there is a larger rectangle that looks like a panel, but it's not quite centered in the wall. And I'd just like for you to describe what that is, or show us a section through there.
Right, I will go back to this elevation for just a moment.
Sure.
To clarify that, because what's happening is there's the same element on three sides of this addition. As you can see here, when I go to the first floor, zero elevation, and then below the height of the zero is what a brand new first floor has. We have several panels, which are shown here, and we have lattice to cover the crawl space and the space between the sonotube footings. I will go into a different file to show the, not sure if I actually have this here, but,
So would be nice for us to see how these two design elements relate to the house itself. I mean, the lattice work or a raised panel is a perfectly good design solution, but how is it the correct one for this style of house? And if this is part of the existing house somewhere that I have failed to see, and you can show us that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I think we should discuss the value of introducing a new element into a fairly simple and traditional house where it doesn't quite fit.
okay,
And I would say the same about the window style. These,
if you can just give me a second. I will get back to where I was.
at the front.
Yeah. It's the porch, I think.
So, this is a simple
But
kind
maybe
of
that was an addition.
when you look at the house,
Is that the only side that has the window? So the front is open?
The front is open.
Okay, so it's
and,
not an enclosed porch, yeah, okay.
No, it's an open porch and, that's where, these windows happen that we're, actually referencing here. I will say that in the process of designing the addition, we have actually made another, study to, see, what the road would look like if we would, replace the windows, which are more obvious, appearance or
Yeah.
element on the house. And.
I see. I think you made that's the right choice, yeah. And there's two lower structures having the similar windows. You're right.
Yeah, and so between the owners, the homeowners and myself, we went back and forth and we said, should we do this, should we do that? They both kind of referenced the existing house, which one should we go with. And after some consideration, we decided to go with this version. So that's how we ended up with this particular type of window. And then in terms of the panels, it is true that, you would not find the same exact type of panel somewhere else on the house. But the feeling was that, there is, the house has a lot of, the house is not terribly, when you look at that elevation, when you notice, the house is not very heavy on the trim. There's just a very lot of, stucco with some of it. And, the homeowners really felt that they would like to, introduce this element, which is, the wood panel, detail, which would sort of lighten up and enrich the facade, in terms of interest. And since it's a very, small, short area, which is kind of low to the ground, I thought that was reasonable. It would have been perhaps easier and more obvious if we just went with a plain stucco, area here, or maybe something more vertical. However, given their preference, it seemed that the panels would blend pretty readily, with this elevation and with the position, that they occupy on the facade. And then, we, need to cover up the crawl space and the raised part of the addition. And in fact, the vertical lattice, which is proposed here, is meant to connect back to the vertical grids and mullions and details on the house, which is why it was designed to be as such, as opposed to being a square lattice or a diagonal lattice or some other kind like that. So this was specifically chosen to go with the vertical elements of the facade.
What color will that be?
Everything will be black. That is what.
The lattice will be black too?
Yes. All of these elements are meant to be black. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Very well, actually.
I guess my only issue is that, I think it's gonna look really busy compared to what's existing on the house, with the black lattice, then the panel, and then again the black windows. I don't know if you thought about that.
Well, I have to say we're, comfortable with that. I mean, there could be a bunch of different opinions that people could have, but, it seems that the mass of the house is such, and it's all this white stucco, that, in proportion to what that is, and the fact that it only comes out about 7 feet, that this is still not an overwhelming size, element or an addition or an architectural statement. Still a relatively small buffer.
I agree, it's small. I think what I like about this house is its refreshing simplicity. But it's not out of character stylistically. that much. So my suggestion to the owner, who I don't believe is here, maybe listening,
I was thinking they would be here, but I'm afraid they weren't.
would be to maintain the stucco, because I think it will be stronger geometrically to have that pure form, just like the other sort of pure forms. When the house moves in or out, it maintains the material, similar material. So, and I think that works well for the house. It's not, if they feel strongly and you feel strongly about it, I'm willing to let your, you've thought about this problem a lot, and I think you've thought through it in an intelligent way, and if your conclusion is different, I'm fine with that. So, I don't think we're approving anything tonight. This is a pre-submission, or is this an actual?
It's an application.
It's an application. So
Yeah.
Do we, I mean, typically, we don't vote on things if they're in front of the planning board.
Correct.
I mean, I think the value of this discussion would be if you, I mean, I don't know, can we approve something here without planning approval? And then what happens when they get planning approval, they just don't come back, or if we're okay with this, we let the
Yeah,
applicant
because they
know,
could
and then
go-
we can just approve in your absence if we've already made all our comments? Is that what
Right,
the
you
process
you
is?
could approve it
We can-
pending planning board approval.
Okay, all right, so, let's go, unless there's other comments.
I think she did an excellent job explaining every decision that she made. That was refreshing. And I think you've made some good decisions. It convinced me. I think it's gonna look great.
Thank you. I would love to say that you're absolutely right. There are different ways to look at it. And we have sort of evaluated the different approaches and sort of landed wherever everybody, including the homeowners, was most comfortable. But I hear what you're saying, and I agree, there's definitely differences.
And then just to, I've looked at the fence. Why don't we just briefly look over the fence? I mean, I think, or maybe give us an overview of what's happening with the garage, retaining wall, and fence, and I guess new stair at the back.
So, as you can see again, on the first floor, A004, the new parking area, is on the street level, and it has a fence, to prevent going from driving, sort of trees.
Eva, you can only access this from the existing driveway? Is there going to, you can only access this from the existing driveway, this new parking? Or can you access it directly from the street?
You can,
No, it's right here. You see it's right off the road.
So
Like, this is the new,
Is this curb going to be opened up?
yeah, you have to cut the curb.
You have to cut the curb.
That's why they're planning. So it's all,
Yeah,
this
I guess.
becomes like a two or three car.
So a little driveway right there.
Right.
And we're basically sort of wrapping that from the garage into the side and creating additional parking space. Because the existing garage is really tiny and it can barely fit one car.
I mean, I think the problem is a real problem to solve. You have a one-car garage is a fairly large house, and I think the choice of the way the retaining wall is designed, with plantings to sort of mitigate the height from the front, and the material selection is good. I think that this is a sensible approach, and I don't. I mean, I'm sure your neighbors have some questions. They're not here, so, and they were noticed, so,
We had some neighbors in support actually.
oh, that's nice to hear.
They came to the planning board.
All right. I think this looks good.
I think the parking area and the retaining wall is really nicely done.
Thank you. It's a very nice, yard and a nice setting, you know, but there was a little concern with this whole car situation in there, so we kind of worked very hard to make it the best we possibly be, yes.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion.
I think the only problem is, you see this roof, it actually has shingles, I don't know why the roof was drawn there, and that was what was drawn.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I'd like to make a motion, we approve this application as submitted, pending, obviously, planning board approval at your next meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
50 seconds, unanimous? Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
And then, last up tonight is 92 Judson Avenue. But this is, I mean, it's a subtle intervention. I'm familiar with this house. It's quite a nice house. It's a nice house. You're brave to take on an architect as a client. The last time I designed a house for an architect, he fired me. And it was the first and last project for an architect I ever
I've
took on.
actually had a lot of architecture.
Oh, you have? Okay, well, maybe it's me.
Wonderful clients.
It seems like this one worked out. So, and it's, you know, it's a good house, and it's the right kind of, you know, modification to it. So I think.
I like how you kept the recessed entryway
Yeah.
instead of bringing it flush with the front of the house.
So that stone wall is the utility room?
Yes.
John has a lot of pride in this house. It is a big tribute to loving care, which is really beautiful because, you know, it is actually an old house now. But he was very carefully renovating and restoring it, so it's really impressive.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, good. It's nice to hear. I'd like to make a motion. We approve this as submitted.
Of course.
Second. 50 seconds. Okay, thanks.
Good luck.
A motion, we adjourn tonight's meeting. Do I have a second? Paul seconds. Unanimous. Meeting adjourned.